Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's school board meeting. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tina, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next up is approval of our agenda. I have no additions.
To approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve our agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Recognitions.
Madam Chair,
Paul,
I try to lead with my mistakes. And last meeting, I recognized Amanda Finley for running the bookmobile because I saw a post on Facebook. And the next morning, she was kind enough to also let me know that Sarah Whipple, Susie LaCroix, and Don Williams were also doing the bookmobile this summer. So I'm sorry for my oversight. I didn't see them on Facebook, so I missed them. I would also like to thank Mrs. Holmes for calling me out as well for, missing people. So I didn't mean any disrespect or overlook, but I hope this makes up for it.
it does. Thank you. Billy,
Madam Chair, I'd like to recognize, Creticus Land Company. They bought 2 beef at the sale and donated them to the school. Thunder Basin Coal also bought 2 beef, donated them to the school. Deckers bought a whole pig, donated it to the school, and J&H Services donated money for processing fee.
thank you and thank them very much. We appreciate that more than they even know. So, and our kids are very lucky to have that program. Anyone else have recognitions? Angie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to give a big thanks to First Northern Bank. They had that roundup program with their debit card. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but all the branches matched what the customers donate or earned in their roundup, and they split it between the different youth groups, or not youth groups. They're gonna do that the next time, but to help out with youth, and they donated $1,437.15 to the unpaid lunches breakfast fund. So that was very nice of them.
Thank
So-
you, First Northern.
And thank yous have been sent out to all of the beef, pig, processing fee donors, so.
Awesome, thank you. We'll get the fine bucket out for you. We're instituting a fine this meeting. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Please go ahead.
And sort of on the lines of technology. So as trustee Bao said, last meeting, I may have neglected, not on purpose, but by design, the tech crew. And I would like to include them in the 12-month recognitions as well. And especially today, because it was a perfect Brad LaCroix afternoon, we had no clocks and no internet. However, or phones, yes. I got it fixed. And we are back on Zoom and back to functioning. But again, all the 12-month people that really worked hard. Not everything is done, as you can tell. I mean, we're still working with the field issues, some AC at the middle school, and of course the playground stuff, which are real visible. But overall, I think things really went pretty well this summer. As hot as it was, and then the world of construction is really difficult, needless to say. So with that, I'd like to recognize all of them.
Thank you. Thanks, Bo, and your crew. Anyone else have recognitions? I have a cup. Oh, okay, Paul.
I'll get to it when I give my report to the board, but I do want to recognize County Commissioner Chair Don Taylor. He has been going above and beyond as far as trying to do something with the bus route road in Osage. And he is the only one that seems to actually want to attack it head on and actually come up with a solution for our kids. So like I said, I'll get more into that later, but I definitely want to recognize him because he has definitely taken a leadership role on getting something done there.
Thank you. Okay, I have a couple. I know it's summer and these folks made some amazing accomplishments on their summer vacations. And so I would like to recognize Zane Marty. He got a great big giant check from the World Series of Team Roping. That was pretty cool. He'll have fun things to tell his kids when they talk about what they did on their summer vacations. And Jocelyn Pischke at the National Little Britches Finals Rodeo was 4th in the finals average and ended up 5th in the world and will be competing in Vegas in December. So in goat time. So that's pretty awesome that people are having a great summer too. Okay, any other recognitions? Visitors' comments? You're not really a visitor, are you? Visitors' comments? Okay, action items consent agenda. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Old business, proposed technology drafts for artificial intelligence policy, risk assessment for technology, lease privilege accounts and administrative privileges, and service lease agreement on third and final readings.
And Madam Chair, I don't believe there are any changes from last time, although I do know the AI conversation was at one of the state meetings in the last couple of weeks and I think it may have been like the state librarians meeting or something like that. But I have not yet seen anything that would change that recommendation at this time, although if there are changes, we will bring those forward at that time.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve on third and final reading before mentioned policies. Is there any discussion? I would add that I think that AI one may be one that we need to look at every 6 months or so. There are going to be things that, yeah, it's gonna, yeah, very fluid. All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And now we would like to move into an executive session under Wyoming Statute 16-4-405 IX to discuss a legal update. May I have a motion? It's been moved and seconded to move into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right. We're back in session, starting with new business, classified resignation.
Yes. I would recommend to the board the resignation of Mrs. Hanson as the special ed para. And then we're going to post as needed. A little concerned about where our numbers are, it's actually district-wide. So with that, I would make that recommendation.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resignation from Lene Hanson as special ed para and to post the position if needed. Is there any discussion? Jason?
Madam Chair, did we have any exit interviews with her or anything?
I don't believe we have yet because we just got the letter a week ago. But HR will be reaching out with any of them.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. 2024-25 Transportation Handbook. The
Yes.
recommendation is to approve the 24-25 Transportation Handbook. It's been moved and seconded to approve the 24-25 transportation handbook. Is there any discussion? Sean?
So all these highlighted spots, is that what we added or is that the
Uh,
changes?
Those are the
Okay,
changes.
okay. All right. And let's see, there was one here. Oh, I read through this. No, I can't remember here. So on this cell phone policy, um, how's that work when they're on their cell phone and you catch them? What violation do we give them? I'm trying, I was trying to find the violation. I know they're supposed to pull over in case emergency, but what if they're going down the road and they're on their phone? What's our policy there?
You know, all it says here is it refers to the CFR code. And I'm assuming it must be addressed in that language.
Okay.
And
So
I don't know what that is. I would assume that,
I don't either.
I would assume maybe the first one's like a verbal, maybe the second one's a written up, and then the third one you're done, or with the CDL, is it one and done? I guess I don't know the different, I mean, CDL seems to have its own language,
I know DOT hammers them if they get caught.
like,
Personal
like a
fine.
fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it goes against, so I don't know how that works. So does it, school district? Because the school district doesn't have a DOT number, right? Or do they have a DOT number?
not to
I
my
don't think
knowledge.
so.
So it just goes against the driver, and does it go against the school too? Because I'm just thinking of insurance purposes if they get caught.
I'm assuming it's gonna be a double whammy knowing insurance. If you're not gonna address it, I would be willing to bet you that your insurance provider is going to know, number one, why not? And if you continue that practice, I would only think things are gonna go up in price. Can the insurance company actually drop an individual driver? I don't know if they can do that. When you say, so it counts against points to the driver, is that what it does?
It goes on their CDL record.
Oh,
So I didn't know if it goes against the school. I don't know how that works.
I would assume that since a CDL license is property to that individual, it would be them.
Yeah.
That's my assumption, but Allison, have you ever dealt with any of that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking through it. I think it would be assessed against the CDL license of the driver. It's possible that, given circumstance that an insurance company might tell you that they won't insure a driver. I've never seen that happen. So I think it would be a pretty extreme case.
Although, not, and I'm not trying to correct you, though, we are periodically told when people receive X number of speeding tickets that they are unable to be in control of a school vehicle of any kind. So yeah,
Yeah.
you probably
So that would
could.
be your guidance, right? Is the insurance company telling you they're non-insurable under your policy?
I have never crossed that bridge with a bus driver, but I do know periodically we receive, well, Angie does, Brad LaCroix, because he has X number of speeding tickets in a month, is not able to use a school vehicle.
For example. Hypothetically speaking.
And actually, they don't tell me why. They just
Oh.
say this driver is excluded from your,
Oh.
and then I give that person the contact information and they can straighten it out if needed.
Okay.
So
That makes sense too, that would be confidential. Any further questions on the transportation handbook? All those in favor of passing the 24 or approving the 24-25 transportation handbook, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Had the Senate president been in attendance, he is aligned and has a much better understanding of the governor's positions than any of the representatives who were there. He would have been there to represent that side, and the people of Weston County would have at least heard both sides. Wyoming politicians got to quit doing the Liz Cheney thing and deciding they're only going to go into rooms with people who agree with them. It doesn't play well in Wyoming, and I think that's what happened to Ogden, and that's why we finally had to do a story. We knew for a couple of years that this rift with him and the Republican Party was going on. It got to a point where I thought it was hurting the people, and so that's why we did the story.
And that's exactly who it was hurting. And it's the same with segueing into the other thing that we wanted to talk about, other individuals not commenting on stories or providing information to the public.
Proposed policy KB parental rights, KB-R parental rights complaint procedure.
Yeah, and I would recommend that. I will tell you in talking with several people, number one, I think it's a very poorly written policy. However, it does have to happen because it does follow our legislators' wishes. We've had quite a bit of talk with the leadership team. And I guess in essence, I would say 90% of the time as a district, we really are pretty good when it comes to like harm of self or others, including parents. What probably worries me the most with this one is the what if somebody did know something that a parent should know and chooses not to pass that on. But generally speaking, the nicest way to say it is, tell the principal, tell the counselor, and then you've done your due diligence and it never comes back on you. I've been doing this a long time. I've had one or two parents pretty upset, when you do make that phone call, but generally speaking, everyone is pretty appreciative of just the communications, good, bad, or indifferent. I think parents need to be partners with this, and as long as we can do that, then there's a pretty decent trust. And I think it goes a long ways to speak about where you are with student safety.
Yeah, it's a pretty poorly written statute, and I've read a lot of those. Not as many as Allison, but it's not great. But here we are. Right, any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry. We did, you're right. Dana moved, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay. I check marked it before I should have. All right, we're at for your information. Report. Would you like to start, Bo?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I appreciate Brad saying that, and I had that on my report that to talk about my crew a little bit. They did a great job this summer. Put their hands on a lot of computers, and I'm really blessed to have them. They're good people and hard workers. So I think I even kind of jinxed myself today that I was walking around and everything's done. We're ready to go. And I think someone tried to help us out today and plug something in where it didn't belong, and it was a mess. But we'll be ready tomorrow and get it all fixed. So other than that, elevator projects wrapped up. We have the card readers now for those. And we have groups of people that we can put that in. Got the cameras moved down at the elementary, and our board project is all wrapped up. So again, I think we were ready to go until what happened today did. And probably a shout out to Mr. LaCroix too, because I had to open the gym at 3:45 and he stepped in there and opened up the gym for me, and I just kept working. So I appreciate that. No, I didn't need you to talk. I appreciate it. So. But no, I think we're ready to go unless there's any questions.
Sean?
Are your lights coming?
We're working on it. I've really got
Football field.
I've really gotten quite a few. I really only had one person even that told me no. So it's coming in. It's just in small amounts, I guess, which they're donations, and I think you get what you can get. So we're getting there, though.
How much do you have left?
I'm
raise?
probably right in that 70 range. I made 70, so still a little ways to go. And I really have a few that are holding on right now. They're willing to write checks and whatnot, but I told them to hold on to them until I kind of had a better idea. Once I get to that halfway point, I can ask. A lot of the local ones I just held on to, so we're just holding on to the money just in case it don't fall, and unless I get a big check.
All right.
He wants the big dog.
I know he does.
Thank you. Angie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have anything unless anybody has any questions for me.
No? You've been busy, Adam. Tell us what's new.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I see green grass to the east or to the.
Yeah, finally started greening up. This weekend, the cool weather definitely helped. So last week, since they finished it, I don't know what it was, 10 days ago or whatever. We've been watering it 24 hours a day. You can see the practice field started browning up a little. 4 days ago, we cut it down to 4 times a day, 30 minutes each zone, 4 times. And then at night, we're watering the practice field. Yesterday, we cut it back to 15 minutes, 4 times a day each zone. And we'll keep weaning it down. The grass is starting to root pretty good. The end of this week, first part of next week, we'll kill the water 24, 48 hours, whatever it takes. If you walk out there now, it's like a floating bog, but they're wanting to come fertilize it. So we'll have to dry it up a little to get a tractor out there to fertilize it. And then go back to watering. The first middle school game is the 9th, potentially. And they're saying we'll be 100% ready to go. They're going to come in the first and really evaluate it and be sure before we commit to anything. But they say we're right where we should be.
I think it's looking pretty good considering how hot it was
Yes.
the day they were putting that turf down.
Everybody's heard something about the elementary school playground. There was some miscommunication between a contractor and his subcontractor of who was ordering, how much was getting ordered. I think we've worked all that out. They're hoping all their information is showing it should be delivered between Friday and Tuesday. Shipping is a nightmare, so who knows? He's hoping that's the case, and as soon as it shows up, he will be out to lay it, and if all goes well by the end of next week, that project should be wrapped up. But right now it's all up to shipping. I don't know anything else. There's lots of little stuff still going on, but yes. So tomorrow from 8 to 11, they're asking nobody be in the middle school hallway in front of the bathrooms or the middle school gym. They're going to have a big crane set up, swinging that scrubber unit over the top of the gym, over the top of those bathrooms, just in case something was to fail. It'd be bad to destroy the school, but it'd be real bad if somebody was in there. Other than that, once they set that unit, they've got a lot of the stuff pre-ran. So in the next week, 10 days, that unit should be up and going. And so far that project just went without a hitch, and everything on that's right on schedule. So I don't have anything else unless you guys have questions.
I think everything's looking really nice. So thank you.
Thank you guys. My guys have worked their butts off,
I can tell.
and girls.
All right, great. Mr. LaCroix.
So Madam Chair, it's ready, set, go. So we're in the set mode, so you can't go back out of your blocks here. Tomorrow morning is the kickoff. The president the chairwoman is ready to roll. So I think everything is set with the staff. Very, very happy and thankful. Thank God for all of them, everything they do. Because as you know, personnel really used to be almost like a monthly thing. It's a daily thing. You're always trying to figure out if somebody got hurt last night and they're at the hospital, and now how are you going to fill that void? And life happens. So, I've asked everyone to be very compassionate towards others, willing to help. I would tell you that the new staff, the last couple of days, I was very impressed with. Number one, they were all there on time. They did show up. We didn't have any no-shows. No one was a holdout due to a contract disagreement. And they really seem to be very compassionate about what they do and more importantly, what they do for young people. And so with that, it's a little late to be second guessing. So here we go. You find out how good your 12-month staff is in the next 12 minutes. So that's where we're at.
Anything else? Any board reports? Sean?
It's not really a report. How much more room do we have for meat? Got 8 to 9 more. You're out of meat?
I'm just going by the body language here.
We are very full.
Are we?
Yes.
Cooking.
Well,
This one.
the guidelines that they have, the food service has to follow, they can only serve beef so many times. I mean, it's pretty.
I think maybe we can start handing out thirds to kids and seconds, thirds.
That's coming from a wrestling guy. That's what I want people to cut.
It won't be till October that these are probably, we'll take them on the 15th if we can get them in September, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that, probably.
8 or 9 of them.
I think what comes from the fair is pretty well going to top that freezer off with what's left over from last year. And it's going to be a work to get that stuff in there, I think, with all the rest of the food. I don't think you could put 9 in there without that stuff from the fair.
I think we'll go through that much meat from 21st till October 15th.
And out thirds we could.
All right, we'll discuss that later then.
Maybe we can figure out.
Let me look at what the guidelines are on some storage issues, and we might have to have a plan B. But I don't know what the regulations say a plan B can be, so we'll work out something.
Are there still freezers in the old Deckers building? No.
Or in a real morbid thought, when the last I heard, when we were dealing with the COVID and they were worried about storage for bodies, they're there, but apparently I don't think they're hooked up and running. So I don't know, but there might be some other options. I know that the big craze in the hunting world right now are some of these portable lockers that they can, pick up and move and plug. And I don't know how big they are, but I know that they're sort of the happening trend. So if that would fit in the guidelines, that might be something we have to look at. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think there's a person in Upton that makes them too, ain't there? Them walk-in coolers. So, I mean, if we need to check into that, I can.
Yeah, if it fits within the guidelines, that might just be a plan.
I'd hate to, yeah, I'd hate to turn that down. Yep.
Just want to make sure they're getting more than 540 calories.
Okay. Any other board information? Did you have a meeting, Jonathan?
The only thing we did, just like here, approved handbooks, just the general business day to day, nothing to speak of.
Okay. Did you have no meeting for you? No webbed meeting either, so they took the summer off too. So does anyone else have anything for future agenda items? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you waiting. Paul, would you give us your report, please?
It's not horrible news. It's not great news. It doesn't matter what we show the county. concerning the streets in Osage. They are determined they're not gonna touch them. But, we're still working. Like I said, Chairman Taylor is trying. We're compiling all the documents and everything. It's insane how much paperwork there is in that courthouse and how much it can be ignored or deflected or whatever. But the good news is, Fisher Sand and Gravel and Pinnacle Bank have donated gravel to gravel that bus route. And Sean has volunteered to haul said gravel if that's what comes to. And we have 3 other citizens that have said it doesn't matter what it takes, we're gonna get that road gravelled for the bus. So come hell or high water, here directly, that road will be gravelled. And it's just kind of tough when you're trying to make sure that you're dealing with the legal way to do things and the right way to do things, and nobody seems to want to take a stand or get involved or do anything. So we're doing the best we can with what we got, and like I've told Brad and Troy, we will have that road drivable very soon. So I will keep you updated as things happen.
Okay.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
Like I've told Brad and Troy, we will have that road drivable very soon. So I will keep you updated as things happen.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else for discussion? Okay, future agenda items. Nothing anyone can think of? We had a pretty big vacation board, didn't we? We only met once in June and July. We're a little rusty. All right, discussion items. Offer to purchase real estate. Brad, do you want to?
So since I've been here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is at least the second, if not the third request that we've had to purchase this land. So years ago, when the district had building trades and we actually had students with the guidance of a teacher build homes and then sell them, then we walked away from that primarily because, well, 2 things. Number one, we were taking money off of contractors' families' tables, and then 2 was the skill set of a teacher. But with that, there were lots that were purchased. This lot is still one of those that were purchased with the idea of sometime building a home, the district building a home there. As you can see in the packet, that there is a company that is interested again in buying the property up there. I guess the easiest way to explain it is you go to the Powder River workstation there, out past the elementary school. You take the right, you go up on top of the hill there, and then that road wraps around. Years and years ago, there's a bermed home up there that the district actually did buy or build. So it's right there. And they would like to purchase that. I would say in the past, with the different people that have come requesting to buy different properties, the board has been very reluctant in doing so. But with that, Madam Chair, I think that's all the information I can remember in a nutshell.
Anyone have any comments or questions? John or
The reason we were reluctant is we always thought that maybe the school district would build another home sometime, and we didn't want to give that property away. or sell it or whatever you want to do. And that was the reasoning that we never did do anything with it.
Thank you. Jason?
What was the home built for? What was the purpose of?
For the building trade. Students used to build the homes.
Oh, okay.
They had a class that built the homes and then they would sell them. And so our thought was maybe someday down the road, we'd have that class again, or, you know, and you don't know, but we would save the land instead of trying to buy new pieces of property.
Yeah, there was one in Saddle Sub, at least one. And one here, one out past Dixon Brothers.
Yeah,
And the one-
they're spread out throughout the county.
Are there four or five?
Okay, now here's where I could get myself in trouble. So my understanding is there's something to do when there's land allotments, and for X number of acres and squares, there's a school section in each one. And most of those school sections were bequeathed to the school district. Way back when, and I think this is true, but we actually had money that we allocated not only in that budget to build the home, but also to buy properties. And then if we did sell them at that time, that money never did go against your state funding model. Now, my understanding now is if you were to sell that, yes, you do, as a district, you get that money, but that's less state money that you'll actually receive. And so that it's changed quite a bit with that. In fact, I believe at one time, the real premise, not only behind building the house is, for example, today, housing is really difficult. And especially if you could say to a young teacher, you know, here's a teacherage that comes with this job and you pay, you know, $300 or $400 a month rent, but you have to pay the utilities, kind of a concept. I missed out on that opportunity about 22 years ago to this property right here next to us, because that's really what we probably should have done then, is bought that property as a teacherage. And then we could have used it for students. We could have used it for staff. We could have used it for a lot of things. But the funding model now has changed, and it not only has changed how that looks, but it also changes how that money is recouped in the district. So I don't know if we'll ever get back into the building trades, you know, with the competition of everything. I just worry about if once you sell it, then it's gone. I guess that's the easiest way to sell.
Yeah, Blake.
Yeah, Joe wanted me to talk about a little bit about this. He did a little research, and even though they're a Casper company, they're headquartered in California,
Yeah.
and they are all AI based. I
Yep.
don't know if that
Well,
means anything to anybody, but
because they say we own the property in Weston, Wyoming. So, yeah, and that address is I looked it up. It is a server farm, that address, and that's why that special number, that 5-digit number is behind there, so. Yeah, they send out a lot of letters all around the country trying to get some cheap property, so my theory is property's never really gonna go down in value, so. Yeah. All right. Any other oh, Jason, I
So you
forgot.
said we had
Sorry.
about 5 of these properties?
Yeah. that
And
we-
what are we doing with these
No,
properties?
people bought the homes and the property and they were done.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering
The
what.
properties that I know still exist is there's a school section out there somewhere around Slagles, or is it?
Southwest.
Yeah. There's one right here that we've had several different offers over. We have the one, of course, the one that we're, you know, talking about here. Who owns the house? The one that you were talking about is, who lives next to the one in Saddle Sub?
I don't know who lives
Oh,
there.
son of a gun.
I just remember seeing it when they were building.
Andrew and I will get a list of those compiled so that everybody really does know where they are, but I
So
think-
what we have are some lots. We don't have any homes. The
Just
homes
the
were
lot
built by
itself.
Yeah,
people.
Rush Creek.
Okay.
Someone bought the
Okay.
homes and they were done.
Here's what I don't know about, but and I wish this is something that Tom could talk about when south, the old school there is on Cheyenne River,
Mhm.
Baldwin's or something. And I think at one time that was actually ours and then, wait, is it Baldwin's? No. Is the red there right off the highway?
Claire,
Yeah,
Claire Wilson,
Yeah.
yeah, big
Wilson's,
Wilson.
okay. And I believe at one time that, the district did sell that. I don't think that,
Yeah, that's not very.
okay, then I'm wrong. No, 85 south.
Right before the.
There's not one on 450 that I'm aware of. The only one is, we've talked about the one.
Madam Chair,
Mhm.
there's one, I don't know how big it is. It's a small school. Well, it's a slot. It has two hand dug wells. You can see where the outhouses were. You can see the foundation of where the school was. You can see the foundation where I guess, where the teacher stayed in the home. And it's on, the old Shook place. It was a Shook school. And the only reason you know it's there is because of a flagpole. And it's right southwest of me, of my property.
The Darlington School.
I don't know where that was at,
It's right down Lynch Road.
but I mean, there was Clareton School and stuff like that too, but this school district still owns that one southwest of me.
Yeah.
And the only way to get there is either saddle horse or a four-wheeler. Or Jeep, I guess.
Okay. Anything else on the property offer? Shall we just say we're discussed it and we don't need to put it on an agenda for the future? Okay. All right. That being, oh, Jason.
Madam Chair, I don't know how long ago it was. Crystal put out a thing for SPED Summit. And there was a bunch of online classes that you could take for free. And I took several of them. They were, you have to watch it and then there's questions answered. You get, but I would encourage the board to get on that and look at that. After going through some of that, there are some questions that I did have as far as with some of our SPED teachers and some of the things that they outlined for certain trainings. And it's my understanding they're not getting some of those trainings. And so I guess at some point I'd like to have that discussion on some of these trainings and why we're not utilizing some of that. So
I would reach out to Taryn and put that on her radar because I know they're looking at staff development and opportunities throughout the calendar year. So,
but yeah, like I said, that was a good thing to look at. And I mean, again, I know SPED's been a hot topic for the board and I think it's some good information to have and just a better understanding on what some of these teachers go through and some of the things I think as a board we should look at to help the SPED department in getting certain equipments and things like that. So again, just I thought it was noteworthy to mention to the board. And
So
and
if you
think-
would share those questions
Yep.
and then we can have her do that. I've only got through one, but thank you for sharing that too. I forgot about that. I did one and then lost in summertime.
on that line, there is, if the board wants, an opportunity with, and I think she does more of the federal law and stuff, but there is an opportunity if the board would want to do some special training with SPED only, and some governance stuff with the SPED stuff that is available if the board wants to look at that down the road.
I think so, Brad, or at least for me, because like you said, it's been a hot topic for a while for this board, and I think,
Okay.
I mean, we go to our yearly conference, but I think things like this, if there are some other things I would be definitely interested in.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
Okay.
I mean, we go to our yearly conference, but I think things like this, if there are some other things I would be definitely interested in.
Oh, it's by far the
Setting it
number
out.
one litigated area, bar none, in public education. And what's really interesting is you look at what are these districts going to do that don't have the appropriate staffing to meet those federal guidelines. That's going to be a heck of a wreck.
Hopefully our legislature will
But
care.
I'll visit with Taryn right away in the morning and we'll work at maybe like an early start board meeting with some pizza and start whatever that
That'd be great.
professional development opportunity would be. And if it works, it works. I'm on
Thank
it.
you. Thanks for bringing that up, Jason. Did you have something, Mr. Crabtree? Is he?
I know, here I am. Okay, this is kind of for Brad. Have you heard anything on our SRO?
Yes. As of right now, Madam Chair, help me with this one, please, because you've had conversations as well. So I believe we will start the school year without a full-time school resource officer. With that said, I think what you'll probably see is more like a visibility issue when they have time, they'll be in the parking lots, they'll try to walk the halls, that kind of stuff, both the police department and the sheriff's department. And then the update on the dog is, I believe, because the trainer that was trained with the dog is not able to be with the dog, that the dog may be sold. And I hope that's not new information to the guy that bought the dog.
No,
Okay.
but I just want to make sure they talk to you first.
Yep.
I didn't want to spill
No, no, we've kept the office. Everything is ready. And I know that the intent is if they do get fully staffed, that's something that they can do in the near future. But we have talked, at least as a leadership team, to start the school year, there will not be a full-time school resource officer.
And I did have a meeting with the chief and we discussed how we can move forward with that. He has 3 open positions with 1 applicant. And so we did talk about, I did float out and I hadn't talked to Brad or any of you about that, but I did ask him if he thought having a small sign-on bonus for someone who would be SRO, if that might help get applicants. He thought it might. We didn't go much further than that. He's gonna stay in touch with Brad, but I also asked if he thought there was maybe anyone who had moved to town as a recent retiree who had tactical training, who could be part-time, just trying to think out of the box. So if you guys think of anything else that might work, please reach out. And Jason's next.
I guess, Brad, we make it clear to people, it's nothing different than we've done last year, the years before. We always had PD or the sheriff's office walking through the hallways and stuff. So it's nothing that's out of the norm for us, or, when people, if anybody's listening here, oh, there's no SRO. nothing's changed from when we didn't have it before. We've always had officers walking hallways and things like that. So I just want to make sure if anybody's listening that hasn't changed, nor will it change
Right.
whether we have one or not. So
Well, and we're lucky. I mean, we're not like 18, 20, 30, 40 miles away. I mean, our response time has always been very remarkable in those kinds of things. But I think the only thing that really changes is the idea that, you know, somebody's in that office. But you're right. I think as far as hallways, in the classroom, reading to students, lunchroom, early morning, they like our parking lots. We like them in the parking lots because a lot of our young people really like our parking lots. So, yeah, I don't think it really changes the big picture of things, but as we speak, we do not have any intentions of paying our portion of a contract as a personnel issue. So we'll do what we can do. We'll keep that communications open, and like I tried to tell our young people, you know, our best line of defense has always been people paying attention to people. You know, school resource officers are just not always just the answer. They have to be in the right place and react the right way to whatever the situation is. But I would still come back to, you know, if it doesn't feel right, say something to somebody. If you have that gut feeling that something isn't right, or a student isn't right, or your buddy isn't right, you got to put it on somebody's radar to help, because you can't help what you don't know.
And I do want to say too that the chief is very invested in having an SRO. He believed that the relationships kids built led to some situations where kids ended up in much safer situations because of that relationship. And he does think it's really important. So whatever we can come up with will be great.
So in the conversation that I had, they did tell me that they're gonna sell the dog. I asked, being the county has one, if we could reach out to the sheriff and get his opinion on maybe using his dog, and they said that could be an option. So I don't know how this all works. I know that we can't get along, but anyway.
I would say anything's an option.
So yeah, we'd be more than happy. I mean, you know, we've always said, you know, and I had children in the school, and so I never wanted the perception that, you know, I was tipping my kids off of drug dogs or anything. But really what they do, whether it be a highway patrolman dog, anybody, well, not your dog off your furniture, but some trained dog, you know, we go into a lockdown, they're free to do whatever they need to do. And with that said, we've always been open to that. Now, my understanding, there is a difference between the two dogs, because one is listen to me here, one's a actual dog that's trained to sniff for substance, and the other one is more like a attack dog to help an officer when they are responding, you know, individually. And so I don't want the attack dog to be confused with the drug dog, because that could be a heck of a wreck. But no, I mean, years ago, we had to wait. We took our turns. We had the drug dogs that actually came from the Air Force Base. And then because of the demand, it just never happened. I mean, they were always busy. But yeah, we'll work that out however we can. Hopefully, even if the dog is sold and the trainer is close enough by and they have an afternoon, you know, show up. We'll go into lockdown. We'll make sure we follow the protocol so nobody is injured. or attacked. But the bottom line is that we just want it to be a drug-free area for all, period. That's really the intent.
Thanks for bringing that up. I have one last thing. You have until August 26th to sign up if you'd like to run for the openings on the school board. So there's that. Does anyone have anything else to come before the board? This meeting is adjourned. Who's the vice chair of the rec board?
I thought it was last time. Am I this time too?
Rec board, vice chair again.
Really?
Alright.
Where's, is his agenda probably right there? Rec board agenda?
It's on here.
It's on the computer.
Oh, okay.
No one needs a break, do they?
No.
And I'll call the Eastern Weston County Rec Board meeting order. You guys have an agenda in front of you. I don't have any changes to that agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Any recognition?
Mr. Chair. I know we're all very busy people, but if you have like 3 seconds in your day, 30 seconds in your day, please just stop by the pool. The custodial crew had to work ungodly amount of hours, but that floor, in there is truly as pretty as it was the day that we opened that building. Yes, there's some nicks and dents and things because that building's about 20 years old, but they really did do an excellent job on that floor. And that isn't one of those areas that not everybody, visits. But when they do visit, they expect it to be top notch and it really does look nice. So thank the custodial crew for that.
Is there any other visitor comment or recognitions? Visitors' comments, none. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I don't see no old business or new business. Or for your information. Discussion items. No,
Mr. Chairman?
go ahead.
No, you said no to me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, when it came time for the campers to come and spend the night, we talked about it and decided it was just so horribly hot that we should put them all inside. So they did stay inside, and it's my understanding it went very well.
I would just tell you this, and Allison can vouch for me. I'll bet you their stay in Newcastle was way more pleasant than their stay in Gillette, between the wind and the rain and the fire and everything else. But yeah, it was, I don't think they actually got here till around midnight. And it was still, around 90 degrees. Although you would think with tenors, you'd have some rain with that, but that didn't happen. But yeah, they actually stayed in the wrestling room and were up and moving. In fact, I think the first group was up and out of here at 8 o'clock in the morning, headed to Mount Rushmore. So yeah, I think they greatly appreciated the idea of running water and AC.
That was all I had.
That's it. Any other discussion items? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.
Good job.